Section 4.4 is called the Age of Reason. This one is going to talk about the American Enlightenment in the 1700s and then how religion in the colonies changes to add it as part of their religious ideology. So the Enlightenment, what it means to seek out truth, to use power of reason to analyze that of nature. So really look at how nature works within itself, the rules within nature, and how we can use that as human beings to better our lives. The background for the Enlightenment, we know in 1533, Copernicus said that the Earth traveled around the sun. These are new ideas because for everyone, the Earth was the center of the universe. So this new ideology in 1533 got him into trouble. But in 1687, Isaac Newton developed the laws of motion and gravity. So this states that nature, not God, governs all things, proving Copernicus right. So 1687, right before the 1700s, we have this new thought pattern of within science itself. Thomas Jefferson, he had, for him, evil equaled sinfulness or human ignorance of the rationale of nature. So being willfully ignorant of things that are around you, just choosing not to pay attention or care about what is going around you. He also saw that if the ability to reason equaled a virtuous person, colonists need to learn that they need to think for themselves, not just look blindly at what the church says. So if the church tells you to do something, don't blindly just follow the church. Also, in turn, don't blindly follow what England has to say. Think for yourselves. We are an independent colony. We are thousands of miles away from England. Think for ourselves. We can do what we want to do. Become self-sufficient. My favorite Jefferson quote is, to learn, you have to listen. So not just hear what's going on around you, but listen to what people have to say, take it in, process it. To improve, you have to try. Not just sit around and wait for things to happen, but to really get up and go out there and try your best. Try something. Even if you fail, you learn something. So Thomas Jefferson very much in the idea of go do things. Get up, do stuff. This will improve your life. The Enlightenment has 4 fundamentals, okay? The first one is the law-like order of the natural world. The natural world does its own thing. It follows its own rules. It's the whole circle of life from the Lion King. So everything does its thing in its own way. 2, the power of human reasoning, meaning we have the ability to look at what is happening and reason out how things are happening. We can think for ourselves. We can form our own opinions. We can process information and do things with it. 3, the natural rights of man. Every human being needs air. They need water and they need food to live. So these are natural rights, as well as the right to have, good shelter so you don't freeze to death, that kind of thing. And then 4 is progressive improvement of society. If society chooses not to change anymore, it will fail. It has to keep up with the rest of the world. So progress is required for a society to keep going. It leads to technological and intellectual discoveries of the day. Different ideologies come out of it, different thought patterns by individuals who are Americans. We form up our own literature at that time. The age of enlightenment in the American colonies really is going to change how they see things. A couple people that are part of this, John Locke, the one to the left here. John Locke, 1690, he wrote a pamphlet called Concerning Human Understanding. He's going to coin the term life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. Thomas Jefferson will change it to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He says the government is beholden to the people, meaning that the people should have more say than those who are holding those government positions, and that the people should be able to remove those individuals if need be. He rejects the idea of divine right, saying that no, God doesn't decide who is more important before you're born, that you can do great things throughout your lifetime, and that rule should not be just for those who inherit it. It should be something where people are chosen from a group. The majority should choose. So thus democracy as part of it. Benjamin Franklin, another person, he was self-taught. He's a pragmatist. He believed you did not need religion. He was an atheist. He also was an inventor, a politician, an educator, a diplomat. He really prized science and reason over a lot of things. He also was an alcoholic, so rum was a big part of his life. And a lot of people enticed him into conversations with alcohol. The Enlightenment will help bind different colonies together, in emphasizing power and the right of individuals to do their own thing, say their own thing, think differently than what England wants them to. So both John Locke and Benjamin Franklin become very important during the colonial period to bring out this idea, which will lead to this revolutionary fervor. For religion, they're going to co-opt some of this into the Christian religion in the colonies. It's a religious movement, the Great Awakening, the First Great Awakening. It's a religious movement, 1730s and 40s. They believe the Enlightenment was a direct threat to traditional values. Sermons were about personal guilt, and this leads to yearnings for redemption. Many religions believe that religion is intensely personal now, making it very personal, since the Enlightenment really talks about individualism and that you could do stuff on your own. So they're going to take that and bring it into the Christian idea in the colonies, encouraging introspection, commitment to personal morality. This is going to create a lot of issues between those traditionalists and those revivalists, so the old and the new. Those older individuals, they don't want anything new. They're conservative and they just want things to stay the same. And that leads to some issues. It doesn't help though. It's deeply ingrained in American society by now. And so people are going to take this new thought process and run with it. New denominations within the Protestant faith will come out. One of those big ones is the Methodist faith, which will be established by John Edwards, this individual here. He's a philosopher. He was a priest from Southampton, Massachusetts in 1734. He is very popular. His sermons are basically everyone is doomed to hell. Few lead a pious life beyond him. And Jonathan Edwards was kind of that hellfire and damnation, like loom over people kind of preacher. And so he's going to help develop the Methodist faith. Another individual that's important in this is George Whitefield. George Whitefield in 1739, he is going to come to the colonies, and the Anglican Church, those in the Anglican Church, they don't assign him a pulpit when he gets here, and a lot of church individuals don't allow him to preach in their churches because they just don't like his style. Prior to Whitefield, the number one way you would do things is you would open your Bible, you would read it, read a passage, and then tell your congregation what it meant. Where George Whitefield would take stories from the Bible and he would tell them in story format. And as he was doing this, he would make it personal, where he would, point out someone and say, what would you think about this? How would you handle this? Not expecting an answer, but, putting it on individual people. And so he was considered to be a radical revivalist. He's going to walk up and down the eastern seaboard for about 14 years during the revival spirit that's there. He's going to preach in parks, fields, anywhere that they will let him, even town squares. And one of the big things he's going to attack outside of telling stories from the Bible is that of capitalism. He doesn't like commercialism. He said there's too much excessive wealth and power housed within a certain group of people, and he wants individuals to go beyond that, to go out and spread what they have and help others. And so he's going to be very, very important in this. He's going to draw huge crowds with his sermons. Benjamin Franklin was the number one most famous person in the colonial period, but it doesn't take long before George Whitefield becomes just as popular. Both Franklin and Whitefield will become close friends. People will invite them both to parties to watch them debate. And it is those debates that later will lead other people to think about revolution. And if we are all in this for ourselves, we all have to think about ourselves, our individual colony that's here, and not think about England, then this is where it all starts. Whitefield and Franklin themselves. The last thing I want to talk about in the Age of Reason is women. What did women have to do during the awakening? Well, Enlightenment led women to really speak up. They start to defy convention and have their own religious services. And this really goes against Puritanism as itself, because women are supposed to be quiet. They're supposed to be, just having babies and staying in the kitchen and not saying anything. So there's going to be pushback. Jonathan Edwards himself says that any woman who speaks out and preaches and shares things within the Bible are servants of the devil, and they're going above their station. Christians are going to begin to jail anyone who's a heretic in hopes to stop the spread of the Enlightenment, but it's too late. Too many people are already taking up. By 1750, the Great Awakening ends, and Enlightenment still continues. So by 1776, we have this huge revolutionary fervor that is out there. So now the next section, we're going to look at what led to the revolution itself, now that we know about colonial society.